but I will say all the best things that ever came to me were never things that I could have ever in a million years planned for. And this is magic, synchronicities. Peter Carroll calls this apophenia, meaningful coincidences, things that when you start to pay attention, you realize, okay, there's something really strange happening with reality. How can it be that I think of somebody and they call me the next moment? I mean, we've all experienced this one, right? We all experience it to some degree, but the mind wants to know how. And that's just never going to be, it would be so pointless to even try, because it's like, it's just a make-believe story that you're telling it. It's a big assumption of how things are going to go. So we really have to instead almost find the resonance, right? The frequency of that feeling, that space, and then just keep surrendering to that. And the more we place ourselves there in our mind, when we are imagining things. So if, for example, there's a sensation of overwhelm, or like, how am I going to find these clients? Where is this going to come from? I don't know. I need to plan all of this stuff. We can train ourselves to shift our focus to an imagined world where it's already existing, where we feel this like really amazing sense of, well, what it is creative expression and also fulfillment, right? Because you're going to be working with people that are going to fill your cup to do this. It's just going to be the best thing for everybody involved, right? When you're in this space, everybody benefits. So you just got to keep tuning into that, because what we know is that your states determine your actions and your behaviors. So if we can place our state more and more in that place, in that probability that we desire, then it's the fastest way to pull ourselves into it. And literally that's the shift, because there was somebody on the training this morning, actually, for resonance rituals, who commented around how they're so tired of dealing with drop beat clients that don't pay them on time. And, and I've worked with this girl before, and she's really good. I really rate her. She's a great person to work with. So I was surprised when she wrote that, because I didn't even think she would put up with that. She was somebody that I valued, and I happily paid her invoice when it came through, and it's not a problem. But the shift of deciding to work with that type of client to somebody who values you or doesn't value you, that shift is always one that we first make. We're the ones who first make that shift in our own mannerisms, in our own behaviors, in our own language, in our own actions. The way that we invoke what we desire is literally through invocation within this physical vessel that we embody. Because the difference between working with those shitty clients and a high value client is literally like, marketing is the same. You market the same way. It's all the same concepts. It's all the same principles. But why is it that suddenly you're working with this person and not person? Because that person decided, they're like, I'm going to say no to this. This is no longer part of my reality. This requires a little bit of insanity, because you're in this place here now where you're going to need to behave and act as if you're already working with these beautiful high-end clients, and your reality is not quite there. And so people on the outside might go, like, what are you doing? That's a bit crazy. And you might say that to yourself, especially. I think that's the biggest critic always, right? Is ourselves. So we have to really intentionally find that space, especially when we're in when we're in that time when reality doesn't validate us. Because that's the moment where we have to really validate ourselves. And it's really hard to do that if you're not literally calibrating to that that feeling if you're not invoking it into your very existence, because that's what you have to do. You have to believe it. You can't bullshit yourself that you believe something. You can't do it. You can't be like, I believe I'm going to be wealthy. And then in the back of your head, there's like, yeah, right. To believe something, you have to believe it. You have to literally like, and it's not possible to believe that you work with amazing clients if you're perceptive that you don't. That's the key here, right? Because those two clash. So you got to really put yourself in that space, find that perspective of the version of yourself who is living in the dimension, the probability, whatever it is, where she is being valued and honored and fulfilled. And the work that she does imparts impact and is fulfilling for herself and benefits everybody around her. That's a beautiful space. Yeah. And then the more you find that, what you're going to the more you teach yourself that space, the more you're going to realize you don't even care anymore. The clients that bother you don't seem to bother you half as much. This is the beauty of this, right? It literally like resolves and solves triggers that are already in our environment. And the things that aren't aligned to us, they just kind of fall away, and we don't really have to, force anything to do it. It just kind of happens naturally. And then you don't even mind as much that it comes or it doesn't. But that's ironically how it happens really fast.